So, brother, you know how shading is kind of this like very wishy-washily explained topic on YouTube? I didn't really think I'd be satisfied with those people's explanations, mostly because they were shit, but secondarily because they were not really up to my mark of quality. So I thought I'd make a video of my own after I learned it, and here I am making that video after I learned pretty much a lot of the technical stuff. Okay, we're gonna take to the tablet and we're gonna do shit today. Welcome to the tablet. This is the place where we do shit. And today we're gonna do shit all together very amazingly. Let's start right now. So, first of all, what are we going to be talking about? Well, we're gonna be talking about shading. So, I'm gonna show you a few pictures and you will hopefully think to yourself why most people are wrong in their light and shading videos and why I am right in those. No, sorry, that sounded really narcissistic. But yeah, I'll pause and be back. So yeah, here's where the beef I have with the YouTubers start. So you look at these lights over here, right? When they like fall on these chairs, and when these lights are emitted and they fall on these chairs, and these chairs, these parts of them, like the front parts, they're angled away from these lights. What happens next is kind of like the light gets into a place where it's not supposed to be. Why? Because, well, first of all, when some object is being hit by light, the things that they say, like whether this is being hit by light, this face needs to be shaded in with light, that is correct. But what you need to be thinking about in that point of time is if light is coming this way and my object is slightly angled in a certain other way and it's not getting straightly lit, it has to be lit lesser. Yeah, like a lot of people, they don't cover this. Like on their shading videos, they don't do this. But if you're like, bro, all of this sounds good, but how do I actually shade stuff? Well, I'm here to your rescue. So take a look at this box, brother. Or just take a look at this square, because never mind, I'm too lazy to draw a box. I'm gonna make this thing called an isometric grid, but you can apply whatever I say to the perspective grid as well. I'm using isometric because it's easier to show and it's easier for you to understand. You may think that's copium, but that's the truth. Okay, this is the light source, happily shining away. Think of this as the bright sun. And now the bright sun gives away its light. What does it do when it gives away its light? So, this is like the elevation from the ground, and this is like a very important point. And what happens here is, what does the top part of the light hit? Well, it hits a lot of places, so we're going to have to be more specific. What part of this cube does the light go away from? Like, let's do the few undos, brother. Wait. Let me erase a few things here and there. Yep. This is more neater so that I can show you how lighting works. And when I actually draw these lines and when I actually use this thing to draw out a shadow, and when I draw a line from the bottom point where like the place from which it is elevated or shit like that, right? And then the forwardmost edges, and then I shade in this area, I get my shadow. And like the face that's not directly lit, it gets the least amount of light. And the face that is slightly hit, they get somewhat of the highest light quantity. Like this guy, he's the most lit over here. So now you know how to shade in stuff. Like you get the point at the bottom and you draw a line from that to the edge that is most facing outwards in your current situation, and you use the other thing to draw another line from there. Then you draw a line from the top of the light source to the outermost light outermost point or vertex on the shape, and you almost like expand it out. And then what you do is you essentially uh, intersect that with this other line that you drew earlier, and you like just keep extending from that vertex point. You get to the edges of your shadow. This may sound very technical, but I'm gonna tell you something. It's really not. And when you draw the other thing and you merge it in, you're gonna find that the shadow I drew was wrong. You're gonna find that the shadow you drew was correct. Like, you have to take all the edges that the light is hitting into account, and you can make it that way. But now, here is where the problem arises. So you saw how light hits this thing, and that's all fine and dandy, right? That is just one of my quarrels with these stupid shits. No, I shouldn't be calling them stupid shits. Stop being disrespectful, you little piece of shit, Monash. Ah, L self worth. I'm gonna search for a thing and be back. So now I want you to focus on a few parts of this photo I took. This is a really easy photo to take and all of that shit. Don't get distracted by the sunset, okay? So, by the logic of these YouTubers, this place over here, why isn't it dark black? You'll say light bounced off. Fine, fair enough. That is one way of explaining it. But that's not the one I'm looking for. I'll tell you what it is right now. So, brother, light has this dirty habit of leaking into places where it shouldn't. What happens is, it like leaks into areas where there is supposed to be darkness. Like in reality, that thing that I showed you earlier, that was not what you would see. But this, what I'd showing you earlier, is what you'd actually see. It will be more like this softly shaded out area, and the center is more of like an intensely shaded out area. But the shape, if it can reflect some light, the center too wouldn't be like that. So I think you understood shading to a better level right now, and all of those YouTubers, the beef I had with them ends right today. On this one topic at least. And yeah, light also has another bad habit. Let me show that to you. Now we are back. So light had that one bad habit earlier, right? So what does that mean? Well, the thing is, it's because light has this property of being able to bend. What happens is, it's like in school you were taught in an earlier grade that when like light hits an object, it goes past it, right? And the gaps it leaves while it's not passing any space is the shadow, right? Well, turns out that that explanation was absolute fucking bullshit. Let me show you what actually happens, as I did earlier. So that place that I showed you where light actually was there in the shadow path in that picture I showed you earlier, this is how that light came to be there. This phenomenon is called diffraction. Search it up, it's a real thing. I'm a physics student, I know my shit. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that. Ha ha ha. Anyways, what happens is, like the same thing happens, but now I'm going to tell you something. The closer you are to that object in concern, the closer you are to the surface, the lesser this effect is observed. Like, if this red thingy over here is close to the surface, this part is going to be perfectly straight. And then when you go back and back and back, light starts like bending a little bit to enter these regions like this. And what happens is, there will be light, like hikari are, stuff like that. And then what happens is, this part alone at the back is a little bit more diffused in terms of region than the front. And since you now understood this phenomenon, you can understand hopefully how light works and use it better in your images. And with that, I covered shading. Did you like it? Did you learn something new? If so, tell that to Monish, who's going to show up right now. Yeah, I'm in front of you right now. So if you have any thoughts as to how I can improve shit like this in the future, like candid videos like these, do you like it or not? Put that out in the comment section. Let me take a look at them. And the next thing I'm going to be making a video about is the horizon line and other things associated with it, and something that a lot of people get wrong.